Hello! I think the most important thing to focus on transit-wise for today and for the near future is we have Sun and Saturn directly conjunct. So we are looking at Sun and Saturn down to the degree. Actually, let me just show you. Hopefully you can see that. Down to the degree the Sun and Saturn are, from the vantage point of here on Earth, exactly aligned. And as with every energy, hey, no squeaky. Good boy. There's no such thing as a good or a bad energy. There are good things about this, there are challenging things. I think the most important thing to focus on is to not let the pressure get you down, to not let it bind you, to not let it... I mean, it's very easy to say don't get depressed. If you're feeling depressed, it's really important to analyze it and logically figure out, okay, what can I do practically to work through this? Something that's really cool about this time is we have Mars and Uranus both in Taurus, and they're also conjunct. Almost down to the degree, they're like 2 degrees different. It really doesn't matter. They're still conjunct. It's very powerful. They're lining up in relation to here on Earth. The ability to move forward at this time is fantastic. To be able to make amazing breakthroughs, it's really fantastic. But to be able to put forth that concrete action in the material world, we have to figure it out logically first. We have to figure it out in our minds. And I think it's really good too to keep in mind, and I was thinking about this actually earlier for myself, where I was feeling a little impatient with certain projects and I really wanted to manifest it and get it all done. And it's really good to keep in mind that a couple things. That big projects take time, and for all of us, with transiting Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, as well as Saturn and Sun directly conjunct, and Jupiter and the Sun conjunct, and continuing to be conjunct over the next week and a half, and with Mercury in Aquarius too, the focus is on the big picture, on the big vision. And so it's important to keep in mind that these things take time. It's important to not rush them. And, I think it's good to keep that in mind. Is, do you want to get stuff done just for the sake of completion so you can stop thinking about it? Or do you want to get stuff done right? And ultimately, just getting stuff done or trying to rush things during this time, you'll never get stuff done right if you rush them. So it's all well and good to put this kind of pressure on ourselves and guilt trip ourselves or feel depressed about it or whatever, but ultimately it's not doing us any good. And it's not taking into account the reality of big projects with big results take time. So again, like I said at the beginning of this year, with Jupiter and Saturn being in Aquarius, this is a time to dream big, to take things to new levels that we never even thought of before or never realized were possible, or again, it's the time to manifest what we've been wanting to manifest for a really long time. Either way, be patient. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with the outside world. It's really tempting, I think, to get down because of this particular conjunction. That's the challenge of it. And I think especially with Mars and Uranus both being in Taurus too, there can be a tendency to lash out in anger towards self, towards others, etc. And none of that helps. So it's good to feel the pressure in a positive sense. That's how diamonds form. That's the best that Saturn has to offer, and it's a beautiful gift of being very focused and very purposeful and very effective in reaching long-term goals that are really important for ourselves and our lives, creating structure, and also what we have to contribute to society. But take your time. And I think one other thing about this that's good to keep in mind is the Sun is in Aquarius, Mars is in Taurus. There's always energy available to progress, but ultimately, there are different seasons of progress going on, always. The sun is in this energy, and the sun is about manifestation. Mars is about putting forth the action to realize that manifestation. And both the sun and Mars are in energies that are known to be quite challenging. I like to think of them as being in exile. Detriment is such a negative term that I don't like to utilize, because there are beautiful things about these energies, such great things that we can't really cover here just for the sake of focus on the main points here. But there are beautiful things about these energies. However, the challenges of both of these energies is lack of energy. Not lack of energy in general, of course, but lack of... Let's go into each one specifically. Sun in Aquarius is an energy that is about the mind. It's not focused so much on the material realm. Now, of course, it can succeed in the material realm, just like Earth energy can succeed in the mind. But ultimately, it's more about, this is a time period that's more about, okay, what are my ideas? What are my understandings, my insights for right now and for the big picture, for the future? And again, with Jupiter and Saturn both transiting Aquarius, the focus is really on for the next 20 years, the next 30 years. These are long time periods. So it's good to stay focused on that. You're investing in the long term. We all are, around the world. That's, at least ideally, that's really how these energies function. And then we have Mars and Taurus. Oh, sorry, let me just summarize that real quick about the Aquarius. So it can be difficult to focus on the right here, right now. It's not to say that we can't, of course, but just be patient with yourself if you're more about focusing on the big picture ideas, feeding your knowledge, feeding your ideas, your insight, rather than being super practical right now. Yeah. And then we have the Mars and Taurus energy. And that energy, again, there's such good things about these energies. Mars and Taurus is able to follow through and to really stick with something. But the hardest thing about Mars and Taurus is getting started. And so we all... the Mars is conjunct Uranus, and Jupiter and Saturn and Sun and Mercury all are in Aquarius. Venus is going to Aquarius in like 8 days or so. Oh my goodness, all this energy is like, let's do stuff. Let's evolve. Let's move forward. But it's nice to actually have that Mars and Taurus because it's keeping us calm. It's keeping us grounded. It's keeping us centered and able to, excuse me, something that's essential is knowing when to not act. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got from somebody really close to me with a lot of earth energy, a ton of earth energy, was one of the best things that you can do sometimes is to do nothing. Is to just wait, let the seeds grow. You planted them, you watered them, they're taken care of, the weeds are pulled up. Let it go, because if you pull up the soil while it's growing, you'll destroy it, or at the very least make it very, very difficult for it to grow. So, I like that. Let it grow and let it go. Let it go to let it grow, however you want to put it. I think that's something that's really important, is to balance, with everything. Like I always say, we want to follow the Buddha's example of the middle way. We don't want to go too far to this direction of trying to force things during this time. Again, we want to let it go to let it grow. But at the same time, we also do want to make sure that we are moving forward and actually putting forth that action. Because on the other end of the spectrum with this Mars and Taurus energy, it can lead to not putting forth any kind of action. So again, the action during this time is more so the ideas. We need to get our ideas and understanding first. And that means other people have to get their ideas and understanding as well. And to each their own to figure that out for themselves. So focus on perfecting your mind. And of course, perfect is always a work in progress. Perfect is an ideal that we really shouldn't focus on. So just really making your mind more excellent than ever. Who am I? What am I about? What do I care about? How can I bring out the best in myself to bring peace, love, prosperity to myself, my family, and humanity? That is the best thing to focus on during this time. And with that, then you can do the Mars and Taurus energy really effectively. You can utilize it. You can use that tool. And you can go, okay, today I'm doing this, slowly but surely I'm reaching my goal. And it might require a serious deal of patience. Because it's really easy to come up with ideas and to understand things takes time to translate into physical reality, to actions and the results. It takes time to grow things. But the best things are worth waiting for. Again, for that diamond to form, it takes a long time. It takes years. It's not going to take quite that long for our goals to manifest. I don't know how long it takes diamonds for, maybe thousands of years, who knows, millions, I don't know. Maybe not millions, but certainly a long time. We are looking at a shorter time span than that for sure, but it's so essential to just be patient and to just do when it's the time to do and to wait when it's the time to wait. Infinite love to you, my friends. Namaste.